Thanks very much. We hear a lot about the big state races and the assembly races and the state senate races, but this is the nuts and bolts here. This is the down at that level that really matters to parents and their students, and so I'm happy to be part of this. So thanks very much. Just one little housekeeping thing. We have Michelle, our timekeeper here. Everyone's going to get 60 seconds to answer the question. She's going to hold up the white card, which means 10 seconds. It means finish your sentence, finish your thought. And red means stop, and because everybody wants to go home at a reasonable time, I'm going to hold you to it. Okay? All right, thanks very much. We've got candidates from Area 4 and Area 1 with the current high school district, and we also have 4 candidates for Area 1 with the current community college district. And we'll just kind of roll them all together. And we'll start off with Jennifer Pitcher, who's running for Area 4. Why are you running for office?
My name is Jennifer Pitcher, and I'm running for the current high school district, Area 4, as Bob had said. And I'm running because I'm passionate about this community. I want to be an advocate for our kids and for our parents. I want to make sure that kids are safe in the classroom and that parents are aware that they have their first choice in their child's education. I want to hold the district accountable. I have a proven track record of holding local government accountable, and I want to make sure that the tax dollars get to the classroom and not on bureaucracy. And I'm a visionary leader. I have the experience in oil and ag to be able to bridge the gap between industry and education. And I want to make sure that we have pathways for our kids that are both college-bound and non-college bound by enhancing career technical education programs as well as the dual enrollment programs, such as they have at Arvin High School. A little bit about myself. I'm a product of the current high school district. I currently work in agriculture policy. And prior to that, I worked for policy for oil. And so I have the experience and the unique connections with industry to be able to help bring more industry-driven career technical education programs.
Thank you, Jennifer. Go ahead and pass it on down to Jan. I'll ask you the same question. Jan, why are you running?
I'm running because I feel that I'm an educator on the school board. I've taught for 45 years. I just retired in June, and so this opportunity came open, and so I jumped on it. I think that there needs to be a woman on the school board, and I also think there needs to be an educator. I know what's going on in the classroom. I've taught for 45 years. I've coached 5 different sports. I understand where the money is and what's going and where it's going and why. I know a lot of people in the district, and they encouraged me to run, and that's the reason I'm running.
Ryan Cole.
I'm Brian Holbrook, and I'm running because I've been down at the school board meetings for the last 3 years as a parent. I get involved. That's why I'm running. I didn't decide to get into politics and then start showing up at school board meetings. I have a 17-year-old at Liberty High School. I got a 13-year-old headed there next year, a 3-year-old, and one coming just after the election for my 40th birthday. So I've been involved. I've been at nearly a dozen meetings, and I was there fighting against them when they were putting boys in our daughters' restrooms. I was there actively working with the school board to protect our students by allowing parents with CCW, such as myself, to be allowed on campus, not have to worry about getting arrested for dropping our kids off. I work with the school board to allow specially trained volunteer teachers to be armed on campus. Now, Governor Brown took that away from us, and there's other things we can do. I'm big on safety. We can do multi-layered defense. I've been advocating for shot spotter technology, and there's a lot of other things to it. But my time's running out, so I hope you can support me. Thank you.
Brian, you're the one guy who's allowed to have the ringer on his phone. Okay. Mike Williams.
Hi, I'm Mike Williams, Area 1. I'm running for re-election. I've served 2 terms, enjoyed it. The reason I would like to continue is I feel as though we've got the district headed in the right direction, and it took about 4 years to get it turned, I believe, in that way, in support of career and vocational training. I'm proud of the progress that we've made in that area, and I want to keep it going. Obviously, safe schools are a major thing to go on. I'm working on a project there that we haven't announced yet. And the last is that as a business owner, I want to make sure that we're producing kids that are productive for our community. And I hire a lot of first-time kids or jobs, and I see what they're producing. The last thing is one of the things that got me to run in the first place was that I want to make sure that our parents' rights are being protected. that they have a say in the education of their kids, and that they just aren't rolled over with values that are pushed down from Sacramento and San Francisco and places that don't represent that parent's particular wants and wishes.
And Mike's opponent in Area 1, Cynthia Brakeman.
Thank you. My name is Cynthia Brakeman. I'm running obviously for Kern High School District Trustee, Area 1. I think I could say I agree with every one of the candidates that are here. But my qualifications are that I have been a teacher for 20 years. Prior to that, I was in banking, accounting, construction, and construction loans. My husband owns his business, so I do understand business acumen. I think our district needs some financial transparency. I think there are some issues there. I have been a CTE teacher, so I understand career technical education. I think that I agree with Jan that there needs to be a teacher on the board, and I agree that there needs to be a woman, but I think it needs to be a qualified woman. So I wouldn't want somebody to vote for me, oh, that's a woman, let's vote for her. No, I want you to vote for me because I am qualified to be in that spot. Thank you.
All right, well, let's jump over to the Kern Community College District. We've got a few candidates in that department, starting with Karen DeWalt.
Hi, excuse me. My name is Karen DeWalt. I was born and raised in Bakersfield. I have 2 grown sons, 7 grandchildren, one which lives with me presently. He attended BC and is now a senior at Cal State University, and I believe Bakersfield College was very instrumental in his education. He has been on the dean's list for the past year and now is applied for grad school. I have served on several boards in Bakersfield, such as Keep Bakersfield Beautiful. I picked up the trash for 10 years. And I was a board member on the Bakersfield Music Theater Stars and appeared in over 25 productions there. And on their performance, their fun yearly performance of Dancing at the Stores, which I placed 3rd. And I think Bob is aware of that. He was in it also. I was president of the Cal State Roadrunner Club. I've been on the Kern County Fair Board, 16 years on the Bakersfield City School District, and then their Foundation Railroad. I have volunteered for the Guild House, former Kern County Nut Festival, also was instructor at the BC Lebanon Institute, where I taught social dancing and tap dancing. I've had a retail business, and currently I'm an independent contractor for the Bakersfield Music Hall of Fame.
All right, thank you, Karen. And Jerry Nelson.
Yeah, that's M as in Mary. I always have to spell my last name. I'm running for this position simply because Mr. Bill Thomas isn't. And I've been, I'm a retired electrician, 41 years in the trade, 30 years in the educational part of our trade, and that being our electrical apprenticeship, and the last 24 years as the training director, the administrator of the program. I've overseen a lot of careers of young men and women who went through our program. And that's what first got me interested in this, is the career and technical education that the community colleges now have to take a bigger role in. And I feel that my assets or background, I can be an asset to the board in that respect. And then lately, with the passage of the bond issue, the Measure J, that then got the construction part of it. And I've dealt with construction all my life, and I've dealt with management of construction, scheduling, job letting, job bidding, job vetting, and all of those things go into it. So
right.
Those are the areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Hi.
Nan Gomez, Heidelberg.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Nan Gomez Heitzberg, and my interest in KCCD goes back 34 years, actually 36 years, because I've been a faculty member at Porterville College and an administrator at Bakersfield for the last 34 years. That depth of experience and knowledge of education, higher education, I think puts me in a good place to create an even better BC, although that's what I've been doing, I think, for the last 34 years. When I think about education, I think about the changes it makes in the life of a student, but more so in the life of a family, and also then collectively in our communities, because we have one of the lowest bachelor attainment rates in California. That's what we need to focus on, getting our students in and through as quickly as possible in the best possible facilities that we can. So I'd like to be on the decision-making team at the board, making the decisions to be ready for the next generation of students.
Thank you, Nan. And last but not least, Lorenzo Alvarez.
My name is Lorenzo Alvarez. I've spent the last 30 years as an assistant football coach at Bakersfield College. I'm committed to the youth of Bakersfield. I'm committed to public service. I spent 15 years as a Bakersfield police officer, and the last 20 plus years working in both the ag and the oil industry. I hold a bachelor's, a master's, and a law degree, and I currently oversee the legal department for KS Industries. I understand construction from the planning side, from the budgeting side, and with the passage of Measure A, I want to make sure that the current projects are there, that they're brought in on time, on budget. Education is important, as you see that I do have various degrees, and both my children have educations, they have their bachelor's degrees, and they're working professionals in this community.
I should mention that also on the ballot is Kyle Carter, who can't be here today. Kyle Carter is an incumbent. And let's bring it all the way back down to this side if we can. And Jennifer, I'll go back to you. If elected, what will be your focus, and does your experience support that?
Yeah, once elected, my focus will be to enhance transparency in the high school district. As the first executive for Current Citizens for Sustainable Government, I was able to successfully implement budget transparency platforms at both the city and the county. These allow for each and every taxpayer and parent to see where the money is coming from and exactly where it's spent. It will allow trustees to be able to better understand the budget and to see where efficiencies can be made. I also want to enhance the pathways for college-bound and non-college-bound students that are geared towards the jobs that are available in our community. I am the only candidate that has experience in oil, ag, and the classroom. I was a former adjunct professor at Taft College and a former substitute teacher for the Kern High School District. So I'm able to, because of those unique experiences and because of my connections with the business community, I'm able to bridge that gap and to have industry-driven career technical education programs.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Janet.
Hi. My main focus is going to be for the students. I want to put the students first, and I want to have the idea that we can have free hot Wi-Fi in our classrooms as well as in the libraries. And I'd like to extend the library usage of the lab so the kids can go in, students can go in and do their papers. A lot of them, when they go home, they don't have the internet. And they can't do their papers. And so they do it on the phone, and then I say, well, where do you want to go to get it? Well, we can go down to Starbucks or McDonald's, and they have free internet. But I'd like to make sure that they have free internet to do all their classroom activities. And the thing that I really like to emphasize is the reading. I'm a reading specialist, and that was my master's in reading. And I think that the reading is important because there's a coalition between reading and poverty and how you get a job later on in life. And if you can read well, you can do something well, then you can get a job, and that would be my emphasis.
Thank you, Jan. Brian Holbrook.
So education is first and foremost, but prerequisite of education is providing safe campuses. And I have multi-layered defense strategies on how to protect the kids, but one of the things is that discipline is out of hand right now because of the Senator settlement and also Sacramento. We need to get that in line. Having video cameras on campus where kids are going to be deterred from acting out or know that they'll get caught is a big, huge factor. Career technical education under Mike Williams and Phil Peters, they've done a great job of expanding that. They've doubled that in the last 4 years, but we're not teaching our kids life skills education. I'm a mortgage lender. I've seen tens of thousands of credit reports and tax returns and bank accounts. People do not have basic understanding of how to budget and how credit works. They need to understand that. But more importantly, oil is the lifeblood of Kern County. And our students are being taught that it's not a good thing. They don't understand that they're wearing petroleum products, that it is essential and it's important, and we need to increase that. There's CPE courses that help it, but we need to expand upon it more. Thank you.
Well, I'd say it's the same thing that I've said the last two elections. It's back to basics. We need to continue to increase and support our career technical education, vocational schools. We need to improve our safety at schools. Both of those have been a vocal advocate for. I'm I'm a big believer, and this gets underplayed, I think, in all of our dealings with schools, but protecting the parents' right to have a say in what their children are taught when it comes to social norms and political opinions and those kind of things. We need school to be school, teach the basics, the STEM, the ability to think and to learn. We need to continue to raise the graduation rate. Current high school is now above the state average. We were below when I first started, and we're increasing. Again, I'll go back to career technical training as one of the reasons for that. And then the last thing that I will be focusing on is the expansion of Current Learn, which is an online learning system for the Current High School District.
I wouldn't disagree with any of the ladies and gentlemen that are running for the board. But I would say that as a teacher, 20 years in the classroom at Arvin High School, there are some things that we really do need to focus on. And I think we always need to put students first. I think we also need to understand that the Board of Trustees develops policy, it does not set laws. We need to follow the law. There are other ways to have laws changed, and that's not at the trustee level. I think we do need to focus on fiscal responsibility, and there are some issues in our district that I don't think our board is willing to address. I do believe in more CTE, and I need to remind Mr. Williams that CTE was here a long time before he was on the board. 20 years at Arvin High School, and we had CTE programs there and academies all that time. I also think we need to develop a stronger relationship with both Cal State and with BC for dual enrollment. I think it would be an opportunity for our students to graduate from high school, much like students in New York, where they've already completed 2 years of college credit, and they can go on into workforce.
My focus would be the students first, and to give them the best education and support. These students are going to be our next leaders in the job force and the community, and we need to do whatever it takes to make this happen. I feel my experience on the Bakersfield City School District would be very beneficial to this board.
Obviously, with my background, construction is going to be my main focus right off the bat. But even more so, I'm going to push for, and I hopefully can get more of local flavor on that. I've been up to Bakersfield College on more than one occasion, and you see a lot of out-of-area vendors and a lot of people who's taken the monies that we're spending and not spending it here in Kern County. So I would like to see a local flavor, local contractors, and maybe even give them a little bit of an advantage over the out-of-state ones. The second thing that I'd be looking at would be the communication skills. I've talked to a lot of the certified and the classified staff, and they do not feel that there is an open line of communication with the administration. And I think as a member of the board, I think that's an area that we can improve on. Thank you.
Well, my focus is going to be what my focus has been for the last 34 years, and that is to get students through as quickly as possible. And there are a number of ways that can be done. For example, the dual enrollment, which takes college classes out to high school so that students get a head start, and they're more likely to complete high school. They're more likely to complete both high school and college if they've done that. The second is that I've actually helped faculty and our staff streamline the pathways so that they can get their 2-year degree in 2 years and complete their certificates even earlier so that they can get out into the workforce. The other thing that I think is important for us to keep in mind as a trustee is that transparency and accountability are the bywords for us. So when we talk about the decisions that we're making, when we look at the measures of the colleges and their success, those have to be communicated in a way that's accessible.
My focus has to be on getting the students in matriculation, getting the students through the graduation process within the 2 years. It's taken a lot longer for students to get through Bakersfield College. My other focus is going to be reaching out to the employers in Kern County and saying, what do we need? We need more vocational training, more vocational projects. There's the Associated Builders Contractors out here that have reached out to college of Sequoias. They did not network with Bakersfield College, and there's got to be a reason for that. So focus is going to be on reaching out to the community, reaching out to the employer to find out what their needs are. I was approached by a person with a large dealership here in town and said, Lorenzo, we don't have enough trade technicians, we don't have enough mechanics, we don't have enough people that we can get and hire, so we need to change the focus.
All right, so that Jennifer doesn't have to go first every time, let me ask a question just of the community college district candidates. Well, let's start with Karen. And you all have 90 seconds for this one. Do you support the 5-year plan currently approved by trustees to spend the funds for Measure J?
Okay, I fully support Measure J, and since it's already been voted on, I just want to make sure that we will not need any additional money and that the taxpayers will not be burdened with any more taxes. Employment should be local for the project, and that's my strong feelings on Measure J.
As far as the 5-year plan, I'm going to tell you right now, I had a little bit of a problem because it took nearly 8 months to even put a plan together. And I felt it should have been done a little bit faster. So 5 years, yes, I think it's very doable in that time frame. And I think the board has done their due diligence up to this point. I think they need to reinvest their interest into what it's going to take to do it, because I don't think there's a lot of people that fully understand what it takes to put those type of projects together and the pitfalls that you are going to have when you run across them. What you want to do is vet your contractors. You don't want a first-time contractor or construction going on your campus. You want somebody that has a proven track record. There may be a little bit of delay on some of the projects. You have to learn to deal with it, and you have to be able to cope with it. As far as on budget, that is a given. I don't think there should be anything except on time. Thank you.
Well, one of the things that comes to mind is, as I'm looking out at all of you, and probably you're someone that voted for Measure J. It was the community that said Bakersfield College needs to have these buildings in place and needs to have them in place so that students for tomorrow can have an even better education. So the 5-year plan is something that will get the 33,000 students that are there today and the increasing enrollments into classrooms that are effective and efficient sooner rather than later. So I would take the pledge today to say 5 years in the most effective and efficient way so that we make the best use of taxpayer dollars. The longer we wait, you know what happens with inflation, the less that your dollar is going to buy. And I've experienced that before. Someone mentioned delays, that's a given. But I can tell you that people at Bakersfield College know how to deal with delays, and we know how to communicate with students so that there's the least disruption possible to the learning environment.
I fully support the 5-year plan that was currently approved by the Board of Trustees. The people of Bakersfield, people of Turk County voted to give us that money now, and this community needs those projects now. They don't need them down the road. Some of those buildings need to be either retrofitted or replaced. Those things were built in the 50s, and they've just gone as far as they can go in terms of their use for the people. But we need to be smart on how we schedule the project so we're not stepping all over each other. But I still think that the 5-year plan is doable. We don't need to wait several years down the road. What we don't need is another bullet train. We know that labor, materials, costs go up as the further down we go. So the sooner we get those projects done, we owe it to this community, we owe it to the voters to get it done.
Let me ask a follow-up question, and I'll start with you. We just come back the other way real quick, just to follow up on the same issue. Where would you rank the importance of using local contractors versus speed and efficiency of getting it done?
I think we got to give local contractors an opportunity, just like any other contractor. We need to look at the contractor's reputation for being able to get the work done. look at their history, and if local contractors come in within budget and on time, I think we need to give them an opportunity. We also need to make sure that we get those projects done when they're supposed to be done, and if we have to bring outside people, then so be it. But I think we can't look past the local contractors, and we have good local contractors here that are very proficient and can do the job.
All right. I should say, let's try to keep these follow-ups 30 seconds.
Bakersfield College is the community's college, and being a good neighbor means buying locally and dealing with our local business people. So in that regard, I think the district was very wise in setting up a workshop last year to provide information for local contractors so that they could bid more effectively on jobs. What we also need to keep in mind is that we have a responsibility to the taxpayer to get the most out of the dollars. So to the extent that we can have both of those ideal worlds, I think that's perfect. And I'm going to stop because that's Rick.
Well, I think efficiency and local contractors go hand in hand. I've dealt with a lot of the local contractors, and I haven't ran across any of them that or would do the type of projects that you would see up there that are not efficient, not on time, not caring for their community. I would certainly say yes, there is going to be some of the larger contractors that are going to be a little bit more active than the smaller ones, but I still believe that there are opportunities for the smaller contractors as well. And I believe it should be equal across the board. There is no difference in whether they are located in a community like Shafter or they're located in a community like Bakersfield. But definitely I would like to see the local flavor.
Totally support everybody else that wants to keep the local contractors as long as they're efficient and on time.
I apologize to the Kern High School District people for having ignored you for so long. Yeah, let's start with Cynthia. I'll ask you a question that's just specific to the Kern High School District. How do you feel about the district's current discipline policy?
So I want to say that of the 5 people that are sitting here running for the Kern High School District Board, only 2 of us have been in the classroom. So only 2 of us can actually address what discipline is like in the schools and in the classroom. We have a program called PBIS. It's in the 3rd year of implementation. It takes 7 years for that program to actually function correctly. So as we move our current freshmen through that program in the next 4 years, that's going to be a program that we're going to see a lot of bang for our buck, so to speak, because it's not a cheap program to run. We also need to make sure that the feeder schools are also participating in a program similar to that. It's like anything else. If you didn't practice it before, and now all of a sudden you get to high school, in 4 years I'm supposed to teach you how to become a disciplined person and have ethics and honor, and there's a number of things that we address, responsibility. We currently have video cameras being installed in all of the schools. Are there other things that we could do? Yes. Could we have automatic locking doors that lock from the central office? Yes. Could we put some other safeguards in? Yes. But I taught for 20 years and I had no discipline problems in my classroom. I kind of had a reputation and students kind of knew that. And in 20 years I sent 5 students to the dean. So part of that was learning how to have classroom management. And I think we have to help teachers with that. I think when you train teachers to know how to handle a classroom, then they can handle those students.
Everything's a pendulum in our society, and in our schools, we were expelling too many kids. And then the idea of the social change of redemptive justice and what I would call PIVAS now, where we were told we need to just work with kids and not expel, not suspend them virtually ever, is now the new norm. And so we've taken this pendulum that may have been too far here and we've swung it all the way over to the other side. And today it's a mess. We're working on that, and part of the reason it's a mess is because the Dolores Hurtez Foundation sued the district, wasted millions of dollars in doing so because we we were already implementing it, the 7-year plan, as she said, and they forced it to speed up so that when our teachers and our counselors were implementing it, they didn't fully understand the discipline part of it. And that's where the district ended up failing due to that lawsuit. So we're correcting that. I'll admit I was not a fan of Peeves at the time. I had a brother that was a teacher, still is at Arvin, Cynthia knows him. And he quit at one time because at VHS he'd send a kid out and they would send him right back. And guess where we are back today? That's kind of what's happening. And that needs to stop, and we've been having that discussion. We've told our superintendent, and I actually believe that our teachers and administration do support that. The reason it's a mess is because values that aren't earned values were being forced upon us by outside activist groups. And I guess the one thing that I'll tell you, and that I prove, I will stand up to those groups and push back.
First I want to address the teacher thing. The teachers, and I love teachers, but they're already represented by the teachers unions. And I've been down at the school board meetings and seen how the teachers unions intimidate or try to intimidate the trustees. I want to represent the parents, the students, and the taxpayers. That's what I'm about. Now on this discipline thing, yeah, the Dolores Huerta and all that lawsuit was ridiculous. They say that they care about the kids, but when you look at the lawsuit, the 14 students got $5,000 for their education, not a check. The 5 law firms got $125,000 each. That's what they're about. The teachers unions and Dolores Huerta, they're about money. I want to represent the students, the parents, and the taxpayers. And I have Hispanic children. I've grown up around Hispanics my whole life. I'm one of 3 white guys in my church. I do not want my children treated any differently because of race or ethnicity, either good or bad. We should not have arbitrary numbers on how many kids are expelled and how many kids are suspended. It should be based off of action and consequence, not race, not gender, not ethnicity. And I appreciate Cynthia pointing out that, hey, choose the most qualified woman, but choose the most qualified person. The identity politics have got to stop. We've got to stop teaching kids that they're not privileged because they're not white. They have to be taught that they're privileged because they're American. American privilege. Greatest nation in the world. You already won the lottery just being here. So why are we not ingraining that into our students?
Goodness. Discipline is, it's a new subject. I didn't have any problems in my classroom, like Cynthia. They understood what they were going to do and what they were going to do. And if the student was disruptive in any time, they went down to the dean's office, and there was an unwritten rule at Foothill that they did not return to my classroom that particular day. They could come back the next day. But in the meantime, I'd already phoned the parents and told the parents that their student was not upholding the reputation that their family wanted on that campus. So let's have a discussion. So we did, and the child would come back the next day. Now we have on campus an interventionist specialist that is there on campus now. And so once you go down to the dean's office, you go to this campus interventionist, and you learn how to act in the classroom, you learn what your discipline is, you learn how to be respectful to other people. If there's a fight, you know how to solve that problem. And so the discipline on the campuses is not as bad as these people say it is. I mean, my campus was fine. We had a few fights that everybody has fights, but I was very comfortable, and I felt very safe at Foothill. All those years of coaching and all those years that I was there, I could walk on campus at night without any problems, and that the security guards were there, and they always protected me, and they protected the kids. And so I felt that we had a pretty good hold on it.
The question was about the positive behavior.
About the discipline policy.
The discipline policy. I think that the discipline policy at the high school district is overly complicated. I went to a community forum a couple of weeks ago, and they put this matrix up on the screen that had a whole series of, if you do this, these are your different consequences. It needs to be simple. It needs to be clearly understood by students, by teachers, and by administrators so that it can be implemented effectively. I do agree with Cynthia. I think that it also includes a lot of teachers with good classroom management. And I think that we have to be able to make sure our kids feel safe in the classroom. And I would rather remove one bad apple from the classroom to make sure that it doesn't spoil the educational experience for the rest of the bunch.
Jennifer, we'll go ahead and keep it here with you. This is a question for everybody. Can you give an example of a time you have disagreed on an issue, but were still able to work well with others to find a solution to the problem? 90 seconds.
Yes, so when I was the executive director for Kern Citizens for Sustainable Government, there was a bond that went before the Kern County Board of Supervisors that was a $100 million grant, and the sheriff was going to apply for it to get matching funds to build a new jail facility. Kern Citizens opposed that. We opposed it because we thought there weren't other alternatives that were looked at. There were empty community correctional facilities at the time, and there was no plan for how the sheriff was going to sustainably staff this jail. I went before the Board of Supervisors and I fought for the taxpayer. And it was the full board and 11 under sheriffs, including the sheriff. And ultimately, he did get his money and he did get to build a new jail. And we walked out of the boardroom and we shook hands and we said, all right, well, we're friends again. And now actually the sheriff has endorsed me. And so I think I earned his respect. With that, I have fought the liberal agenda in Sacramento for oil. I've been called awful names at several different board hearings. I go to a lot of different public meetings. But the real work gets done behind the scenes. And I am willing to, and I am ready to fight for our kids and fight for the taxpayers to keep local control for our kids and our schools.
The thing that I have emphasized throughout the years is that our classrooms are too crowded and we have overpopulation. And the thing that the board and I have disagreed on, and my administration disagreed on, is that they pack too many kids inside that classroom, and I don't like it. In the foreign language department at my school, we have to have almost all the people teaching an extra period because they can't limit the kids in the classroom. If you have 40 kids in the classroom, it's too much. And that's just what the thing is now in the foreign language department at Foothill. So we need to get more the population, and I don't know if it starts at the top or we start with the vice principal learning how to do the scheduling of the classes and putting the kids in. The band at Foothill High School cannot play during the day. They can play before school and they can play after school. And then they all meet together on Tuesday nights. That's the only time they can meet because of the crowded classrooms that the schedules that the kids have. That needs to be reworked. And I have worked on this for years and years, didn't solve it, and I'm ready to solve it again because the kids in the foreign language department and the teachers are just swamped, and so that's a particular problem that we need to solve.
Ryan, the time you've disagreed on an issue.
That's what I was going to say. So, I'm a mortgage lender, and my mother is sitting in the back. Dr. Micah has been a mortgage lender since 1973. She's literally been breaking through the glass ceilings all her life. She raised me right. She raised me to be a productive citizen. And in the mortgage industry, I couldn't have had a better mentor than my mother. And anybody who understands lending, which I believe many people in here do, know that we have constant challenges with underwriting, processing, staff, appraisers. And when we are met with a block wall, how do we continue to get past that? You do your research, you go to the guidelines, you don't give up, you find a different way around it. Over the wall, through the wall, under the wall, doesn't matter. When you know that you've got a borrower that should be qualified, it makes sense, you figure out how to make it work legitimately, but you figure out how to make it work. This is what I do all day for a living. And the guidelines and restrictions that we have since Dodd-Frank went into act, man, I mean, anybody who knows the industry knows that I'm constantly having to maneuver between guidelines and laws and regulations, and I'm figuring out how to get done. And anybody who's a lender, or a real estate agent or lender, you know I've built a good reputation. I get things done. When you get my pre-qual letter, you can count that I'm going to follow through on it. And I'm a man of my word, I get things done, and I never stop fighting for what's right.
Tell us about a time when you disagreed with somebody or something and managed to get together with them and work it out.
I don't think I've ever done that. No, I like a lively debate. I do, and it's one of the things I like about this job. I honestly believe the people on the other side of the aisle, as far as you can get, want the same thing I want for the kids at Kern High School. We want them to have a quality education. We want them to have a successful life. It's how we do it that we will have a difference of opinion. And that's okay, and we can be passionate about it. And if I have a fault, it's that I'm passionate about the value system that I represent for my area in Kern County. I think I represent it well. I'm a conservative, I'm a businessman, I pay way too much taxes. I employ the product of the Kern High School District. So but when we have those, I'm not gonna bend over and just compromise principles. I will fight passionately for them. I will always try to be kind and fair, but I'm not going to roll over just because somebody throws a lot of lawyers at us or threatens to come after us personally, which they have done, and do what they want. So, yes, when I lose an argument on a vote or something, move on. We're good friends. And on our trustee boards, we do get along well, and we have differences. But we have the debate. And I will stand for the principles that I've told you and I've done for the last 8 years.
You're asking a teacher this question. I've disagreed with students, with parents, with staff members, with administrators at my site, with district personnel, and we've all managed to work through that. Currently, the Kern High School District has a system called PLCs, learning communities, and in those groups, teachers that teach common subjects or have common interests, we work together and we work through problems. But my biggest one would be that I worked for a woman, Blanca Cavazos, who's now the superintendent at Taft High School. And I'm going to say when we first met, we butted heads because she wanted to go one way and we've been going a different way. And in talking with her and working with her and realizing that it's students first, we worked through that problem, and this is a woman that I would follow anywhere. So I've learned how to work through problems with people.
Many of you have served on boards, and I know there's always been disagreements on an issue. First of all, I think each board member should be able to voice their concerns, and other board members should have an open mind and don't have personal agendas or persuaded by others. I went through this while serving on the Bakersfield City School District Board, and sure there was a matter of differences in opinions, but we were able to give and take on certain issues and still remain cordial to each other. And bottom line is what's best for the students.
I've had a lot of disagreements over the years. In the construction trade, that's a normality. But in relationship to kind of what we're looking at here, this is several years ago that Bakersfield College wanted to put together a construction technology program. And that was in direct conflict with the apprenticeship programs. There were about 7 of the apprenticeship programs that met with them and voiced their disapproval, including my bosses, which were the committee. And then the training coordinators and the training directors got together and we kind of formulated a little plan here to make it work for both entities. And so what we offered to them is certainly you can have your class and we'll assist you as far as the instruction goes. And Bakersfield College was amenable to that. So myself, the pipe trades and the carpenters, we all supplied them a instructor. In fact, I did the instructor myself. And we found out that it wasn't in conjunction with us, that it was an excellent program that they put together. And so it worked out for both entities. And in fact, we recruited some people out of that class for our program, so it actually worked out really good for us. Thank you.
Well, I think that's just what administrators do day in and day out is face issues, and sometimes you're in conflict or don't have immediate agreement. But what's in the best interest? What's in the best interest of colleges and students has always been my guiding principle. So let me give you an example of a piece of legislation that the college was required to implement, which was transfer degrees. Now, in order to get transfer degrees down to 60 units, there had to be some give and take. Who do you think would stand up and volunteer to leave a couple of weeks out of one of their classes in order to reduce the units on their class? Well, no one would. I wouldn't do that. And yet we knew that unless English and math could streamline their curriculum and their courses, the sciences would not be able to offer their classes because they were high unit classes. Engaging in multiple conversations, sometimes very passionate and heated, over the years we were able to reach an agreement so that we were actually, just this last week, Bakersfield College was recognized for having a high rate of transfer degrees and transfer students, but it was because people stopped and thought about what is in the best interest of students, and I was a part of that.
Whenever we have disagreements, the best form of resolving that is communication. And the key to communication, first piece, is to listen. And at work, we have what we call our senior leadership team, where we look at what's going on in the company and what issues we may have, and then we talk about it. We dialogue. We work together to resolve any issues that are happening within the company. Specifically in the human resources department, with employees and supervision. Whenever there's conflict, we communicate, we talk, we listen, and then try to resolve any issues that we have.
Lorenzo, I'll keep it with you. Next question, what would you do to improve transparency within your district?
I think to promote transparency, you have to have transparency as part of your district policy. When you confront difficult situations, you do it as a team. You can hold open sessions with the public, or you invite the public or your school administrators to be able to ask anything, to be able to talk about anything. You have to be open and honest with yourself and open and honest with your answers. Provide the public with access, provide them with the public information. Transparency is open and honesty.
So for all of us in the room who are taxpayers, we want to know what's happening with our dollars. Are our dollars being spent well? And when you look at outcomes, and that's where I think we should be looking as taxpayers, we want to know from a district, are students graduating? Are they graduating on time? Are they getting out and getting jobs? That kind of information has to be available and easily accessible. And if you look at the Bakersfield College webpage, you'll find there's a Renegade scorecard, and it documents all of that information so that you can see where the college is doing well, you can see where it may need some improvement. And I found that transparency really motivates accountability, and accountability motivates people to improve. And so by having that information ready for the public and inviting people to provide feedback, those are the things that create better colleges and a better educational system.
Transparency starts with the individual. In this particular case here, the board, I believe they have to have a policy. And as board members, we have to follow that policy. That's our responsibility. But as an individual, my biggest thing as far as being transparent is being available. Since I don't have outside interests, I have nothing but time on my hands. And so anybody that would have a conversation with me, I would love it. Anybody that would want to know what's going on, I would tell them within reason. There are certain things that have to be on the QP, certain things that have to be as far as litigation and things like that go, that you can't give every bit of detail. But you certainly can give them a general idea. And certainly, after a decision, after an issue has been visited, you then need to disseminate that information, whether it be as a general statement or otherwise. But for me, it's going to become accessible.
We need to put out fires before they become major, and we need to have openness and accountability to the students and the community, and don't sweep things under the rug. So we have to be very transparent in all of that we do for the students and the community.
I think we have to admit when we've done something wrong or when we've gone in the wrong direction and move to correct that. I think we have to answer the tough questions, and we have to allow parents and community members to ask those tough questions. And I think as trustees, we have to ask the tough questions. And sometimes we think people that are presenting information and new programs have all the answers, and I'm not sure that they do. And so I think transparency is, I agree, being available, but I think it's asking the really difficult questions.
I've been asked to be less transparent. No, transparency, it's an obvious thing we all agree on. But bureaucracy wants to close the door. Your trustee is there to serve you. They are not part of the school district. I do not work for the school district. I am your eyes, I am your ear, and I am your voice when I'm on that trustee. I hire and fire the superintendent, whoever's on the trustee board. That's what we do. That's the only job we have to be concerned about. So when you're making that selection of transparency, let's be transparent about who do we hire about a superintendent. What kind of person are we going to have? Are we going to have somebody that represents the citizens and the taxpayers of the Kern County? Or are we going to have a board that supports the union and the employees? The union and the employees already have their advocate. They're the union, and they've got great power. You put teachers on there, and I love teachers. Jan loves me, I love Jan. My brother, my dad, my mom, aunts and uncles, lots of teachers. Okay? Who doesn't love a teacher? It's like not loving a puppy. But the trustee is not the good guy, and he's not there to take care of the system itself. He's there to take care of the citizens and the taxpayers, the students and their parents, and make sure that a quality education is afforded to all equally.
Well, I say that there actually is a lot of transparency already. You guys can look at the LCAP. I believe it's the Local Control and Accountability Program. You can Google it online. You'll find that unlike most bureaucracies and most government organizations, Kern High School District is very well. We have a $520 million operating budget for this year, and we're expecting $513 million in expenditures. There's over $40 million of reserves right now. So with my finance background, I'm going to get in there and maintain that and grow that and encourage that. But I got to thank Mike Williams and Phil Peters and the other ones for having that already in place. Now, on the transparency thing, I think it's interesting that the unions are all about no transparency. Mike Williams and I shared on our Facebook page the Janice decision. My opinion, I say that teachers now have the option to opt out. And guess what? We're getting attacked by the state union representative, attacking us. And apparently, come to find out, Mike was telling me that, hey, he can't do anything to you, but once you're a trustee, you are not allowed to inform teachers about their rights to opt out. So the unions are absolutely opposed to transparency. State law. So, interesting point, I thought you might want to know. On the budget, we're doing great. I'm going to continue to maintain that.
Transparency at Foothill meant that we communicated with the parents through letters, through a flyer that went out, we called it Foothill Footnotes. And we told what was going on in this campus and what was going on in the classroom. We had all of our courses online. We have the teachers online too, so that they can talk to a teacher, and we're all on Facebook, and as well as the email at school. We're there. We have it. I don't know where these guys come across that the unions don't want it. We do want it, and we welcome it. And I think transparency is the only way to go, and we're very transparent, I feel.
I've been fighting for government transparency since 2011 when I was the executive director for Kern Citizens. You can ask Alan Tandy or anybody at the city how much of a pain in the neck I've been to them, making sure that I'm holding our public officials accountable. And I'm going to do that at the district. And I'll make sure that I'm not just a yes man to the superintendent, that I'm going to back up and look up the work and do the research myself. One of the things I want to implement is a budget transparency platform called OpenGov. We were able to get that implemented at the city and the county. And you can go in there on the website and you can drill down, and you can get lost for hours on this thing, drill down exactly where the tax dollars are coming from and exactly where they're spent. and want to implement that at the Kern High School District. The Panama Buena Vista School District has already implemented that under JP Lake. JP and I worked on that on OpenGov platform being implemented at the city and the county together, and I think it's a great tool. They have schools up and down the state, school districts up and down the state that use that. And I think we need to, as trustees, to do our own research and to hold the appointed officials accountable.
All right, time to wrap it up here. Let's each take 90 seconds for a closing argument. Tell us why voters should support you.
All right. I think voters should support me because I'm a visionary leader. I've been working on implementing programs such as teacher enhancement programs that combine the oil industry and teachers through the Derek Sedesks program. And while I think attending meetings is very important, as I've mentioned, the real meat and potatoes of the policy making goes on behind the scenes, and it takes months and years to get to that point. I want to hold our elected officials accountable. As I just mentioned, I've been doing that for almost a decade now. And I also want to make sure that our kids are safe in the classroom, and I want to make sure that parents understand that they have the first choice in their child's education.
The reason I'm asking for your support is that I'm an educator. I've just come out of the classroom. I know what's going on. I know what's going on inside the classroom as well as at the district office. I want to have the safe schools, of course, and I want to have the students know that they can come to school and have an enjoyable curriculum, and then they can meet the curriculum and get through with their curriculum and get out and enjoy things. I think that every school needs to have lots of clubs and lots of activities so that when they go to school, it's fun to go to school, and it's a challenge to go to school, and they have exciting things that they can do. Just going to school and going home is pretty mundane, and I'd like to have more activities on all the campuses and make sure that the students enjoy each other and enjoy life.
I didn't decide to become a politician and then start going to school board meetings. I've been going to school board meetings for 3 years, which is why I'm a candidate. I have children in the school district. I've had children headed to the school district. The way things are right now, by the time my 3-year-old and the new one come in, if I can't turn things around, I'm not putting them in the public schools. And that's what I'm about. I'm about our children, my children, our community, instilling our local values. I'm going to be a barrier between Sacramento forcing their ideology and their values upon our children, because I believe parents know better how to raise their children than Sacramento does. And I've been involved. I've been there at a dozen board meetings. I've been there. I've been working with Mike Williams, Philip Peters, and the other ones. I can hit the ground running. I'm the most informed. I know what's going on, and I'm also honest to a fault. I'm not eyeing this seat for political future in the future. This is all I'm looking at. I would not put my family through this if I was wanting to just do it for myself. I am serving, and that's what I'm about. Thank you.
Well, I guess the reason I'm asking you to vote is because I enjoy representing our community. I believe that I've been transparent with the community, that I'm very outspoken for my community, and I represent the values of Kern. One of the big things that Brian just touched on, it's not talked enough, is really parents' rights. And the school system and the government, especially in California, wants to separate the power of the parent and their rights over their child. And that's pushed by Democrats, by liberals, who are funded by unions. And those union dues, they now have a choice. We're told we can't tell them that. We can only turn them over to the union. I think that was your job, wasn't it, Janet, to introduce the new ones? And that's great, if they want to be there. I want to continue the success we have. I want to be there when we vote for a new superintendent. We intend to retire pretty soon, so that we can select a superintendent that does your values. He's the guy or gal that's there 24/7, not us. We're there just once a week or something at the best. And then the third thing I will tell you, the reason to vote for me is because the Dolores Herta Foundation doesn't like me, the unions don't like me, and the Californian doesn't like me. Bob likes me, but the Californian doesn't. Okay? Pretty good reason.
I don't think Dolores Huerta likes any of us that are up here, so let's just throw that out. I want your vote because I think students are the most important asset that we have in our community. And I said this in the interview that I did with Bob, and I'll say this again. When you're a student in my classroom or you're a student in the current high school district, you should graduate with 3 options. You should be able to walk out that door and get a job. You should be able to walk out that door and go to junior college or a technical school, or you should be able to walk out that door and go to a 4-year college. Your choice. And I think we should be able to give our students, all of our students, those opportunities. And so I ask that you vote for me. I'm obviously a retired educator. I've been in that field for 20 years. I have accounting background, I have construction loan background, I have mortgage loan background. So I'm not sure that necessarily makes you a qualified trustee. I think a love for students, a love for this community. I have 2 children who graduated from Highland High School. I have 3 grandchildren that one is currently a freshman and 2 will soon be freshmen in the current high school district. And I feel strongly that we have one of the best school districts in the country, and I'd like to see that continue.
Hi, serving on the 16 years for the Bakersfield City School District, where I was involved in construction of schools and also involved in hiring superintendents, one which was Jean Fuller. And I believe my experience of 16 years on the Bakersfield City School District would be very beneficial to this.
Well, I think you know my background in construction as well as the classroom as far as career and technical training, but I'd like to go a little further. I'm not here representing the group. I'm here representing the community. I was born and raised here. I graduated from Bakersfield College, and I've seen its advancement over the years. They have been visionary, looking down the road. You look back at some of the problems that you're hearing with CalPERS, and you don't see that at Bakersfield College because they addressed it decades ago. They recognize things before the rest of the community does, and that's simply because of the leadership. I'm not there to be an adversary. I'm not going to be there to be create another problem. I'm going to be there to be an asset to the board and an asset to the community, and that's my main focus. Thank you.
Well, my depth of information and knowledge about BC is actually rooted in my heart. So you don't put your blood, sweat, and tears into an institution without creating some strong ties to making it better. I'm a bridge builder. I'm a person that can ask a hard question in a way that can get to answers and still maintain relationships. And I'm tenacious when it comes to what's best for students. They are the ones they're the reason that we exist within any educational institution. What I'd like to do is to work to take BC and KCC to the next level. It's already proven to be a fine institution and a good district, but what will that take? It means that we need to keep our eye on legislation and policies that are coming out of Sacramento. I'm committed to do that. It means that we need to be advocates in this community and working with industry partners to get them involved in programs. It means that we need to be strong in turning around this Kern County education perspective where we aren't getting enough people through to degrees, both associate and bachelor's degrees. And that's what I would be committed to. So as a candidate, please take a look at that longest name on the ballot with the shortest first name, and remember it if you live in Area 1.
I'm committed to public service. I'm committed to the youth of Cook County. If you know, the last 30 years I've spent as assistant football coach at Bakersfield College. Before that, I grew up chasing the crop. Came from a migrant family, 12 kids. So I understand the hard work out in the agricultural fields. I spent 15 years in the Bakersfield Police Department. I understand what this community needs from Bakersfield College, from that standpoint, from a law enforcement standpoint, from the other standpoint. I also know what the community needs from the agricultural standpoint, because after the police department, I spent 8 years at Bolthouse Farm as the human resources manager. So I know what the community needs, the carrot workers, the line workers need from Bakersfield College. Now working at KS Industries, I know what the oil field workers need. I also, being in my legal background, in my law degree, I know what the community needs from a high-level legal aspect. So I've shown my commitment to Bakersfield College and my commitment to public education to the public. My daughter is a high school teacher at East Bakersfield High School. My son's a deputy sheriff. They both also coach. My son coaches at Bakersfield College, and my daughter coaches at East High School. She coaches tennis. So as a family, we have a commitment to this community, and we know what we need from Bakersfield College.
All right, well, thank you.
Bob,
Yes.
could you help me out here? You've got 3 people from district or area district 4.
Right.
Is that the total number of people running?
Total number,
And
yes.
is there just 1 seat?
Yes, there's 1 seat. For these 3, Philip Peters vacated that
And
seat.
so-
These 3.
You've got district 1, 2 people running, and there's just 1 seat.
Correct. And then Ryan Beatty's unopposed.
And over here, you have 4 people, but there are actually 5, but you get to vote twice.
Yes.
And you can't vote twice for the same person.
You get 2 ballots.
But you get 2 votes, which I think is different, and if people don't understand that, it gets confusing.
Yes, good point. Thank you for pointing that out. Pick 2 is what the rules say.
You don't have to pick 2, but you have 2 votes available.
Has Bill used to the sign? Thank you. No, that's
Don't
good.
put up the red card.
All right, well, we've got 9 people up here who care about their community. I think they all deserve to be saluted for caring about this.